Yo, it's your boy Teezy, and we back with another episode of Behind the Muse. Today we're checking out that Wale. I think it's been a minute since we reviewed some Wale for y'all, if not ever since we started the podcast. So I'm really excited to kind of get into this new Wale. Without further ado, you know how I'm coming. Let's get into it. For starters, Folarin 2 is the project. We can't talk about a sequel without talking about the original. So Folarin 1 came out in 2012, December 24th. It was a mixtape right before The Gifted, but right after Ambition. So, you know, we see Wale, who was just recently had signed to Rick Ross. So his sound kind of changed. Ambition dropped, and you know, a lot of people kind of criticized and hey, it wasn't like attention deficit. It wasn't like some of his prior mixtapes. So I feel like Wale kind of probably wanted to prove himself, because when you look at the sound of Folarin, it had kind of like that soulfulness that he gave you on other mixtapes prior, but it also had the bars that, you know, people had come to know and expect from Wale. He had some great tracks. You know, he had some of the, you know, the features from Chrisette Michele. He had a track with Nipsey Hussle, feature from Rick Ross, of course. He had some pretty solid features on there and some bangers. Travis Porter banger. He had a banger with French Montana. So a lot of collabs, a lot of great tracks, really solid mixtape from Wale. Now, I will say, 10 years later, I wasn't expecting to see a sequel. I feel like the Folarin mixtape was good, but it's not nearly as popular as his staple mixtapes, which, you know, except about nothing, more about nothing. So seeing him do a sequel, I was very curious to see what he kind of had cooked up for us. So without further ado, man, let's get straight into the tracks, man. Starting off with the first track off the album, New Balances. Okay. Soulful. Pandemic, nigga.
Then when we here, fuck it, I'm back though. And with so many rap flow. Toe to toe with the mic, I ain't mic like. And you home niggas looking like Glass Joe. Lyric,
okay, flow.
Caption. When we broke, when she posted her cash app. Yeah.
Okay. I'm liking the beat, liking the flow, liking the energy. I'm not expecting this from a Wale intro.
Yeah.
I hope I get some bangers I can shake my dress to.
At the game funny like I'm in the nosebleed. I'm a leader.
Hey, a bar. Said I'm looking at the game funny like I'm in the nosebleeds. Let me write that down. That's gonna be my next caption. Alright, so I wanna talk about this track and some of the similarities between this and Folarin 1 already. Great stellar intro right off the bat. But I wanted to draw a comparison to Folarin 1. So in the very first track of Folarin 1, it's called The Ford, and it's like there's this guy, I'm not sure who he is to Wale, but it sounded similar on in one of the, between like the first and second verse. It sounds like the same guy from the intro on Folarin 1. Now I'll fact check that. This is a first impressions listen, so I'm gonna have to bring that info back to y'all, but it sounds like that may be the same person from The Ford, which dropped in 2012. So pretty cool reference to go back to. All right, let's get into the next track, Name Ring Bell. Like, let's see what that's about. I like the flow. It's an interesting track. Give me mixtape vibes. I'm shocked that it's like track 2 though of an album. Hey, I ain't gonna lie, it's grown on me as the song went. I feel like the first minute, I didn't know if I was gonna like it or not, you know? It wasn't what I was expecting, but, you know, Wale doesn't get enough credit for rapping off these, like, variety of beats and, like, actual drums. So that's pretty dope. It was a pretty dope track overall. All right. So, first 2 tracks in, pretty solid. We'll see where the rest goes. Track 3 is Poke It Out with J. Cole. So, me and Rasheem already reviewed this track. I'll play it and kind of reiterate some of the things I said, but I don't feel like going through this whole one because we've already delved into this track in depth as hell. And we also went and talked about all the Wale and J. Cole's collabs in general. So if you guys haven't checked out the episode, please do. That's a podcast exclusive. So check that out on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. But I did like the beat produced by Cool and Dre. A lot of people don't know that's a Q-Tip beat.
I just want to see if you gonna lie, you gonna let me.
Man, this shit actually still bop, man. They did their thing on this. But let's get into the album. I still like that song. Next track, Tiffany Nikes. Now, if y'all know Nike, if y'all know Wale history, you know he had a song about Nike early on that was a huge hit for him.
I take a win, I take a loss. Revenue good, but my legacy not. 2009, I was putting them on. They wasn't excited. Now they on the blog.
That's what that reference was, that 2009. To that song. Loving the reference to his career, man. 10 years after the fact. I love that. Okay. Well, I like this bag, man. I'm appreciating the subject matter. And I feel like the criticism I normally have of Wale is, I've mentioned this in the past, I feel like he doesn't enunciate his lines enough. Meaning, when I say that, sometimes you have to deliver something so that it allows itself to breathe. I feel like Wale raps in like a run-on sentence sometimes. He picks up the next line. He doesn't end a line with enough emphasis, and then he'll pick up the next line as if it flowed right into it in one long sentence. And I think that hurts his bars because the nigga really be spitting and he got lyrics. But so far, 4 tracks in, I haven't heard that problem at all. You know, and sometimes it's the flows, sometimes it's the beats he's rapping on, but right now I'm not hearing that issue. Next track is Caramel.
God bless your life, Chuck.
Okay, old school sample. Solid track. I feel like the chorus part is a little drawn out. Okay, solid track, solid track. Let's move on to next track, Fluctuate.
You know that love fluctuate and that hater fluctuate. You gon' question who you trust when that paper fluctuate. Let it love fluctuate.
That sounds so good. I could see Drake using that same sample in the same way, honestly. I like this one way better than Karma. That sample, that is. Probably like the track more too. Solid tracks. I think these last 3 tracks have been pretty solid. I think Caramel and Fluctuate was really good. You know, solid. You know, Fluctuate a bit better to me than Caramel. Both utilizing that soul sample. But I think we catching the groove here, Wale, for sure. Next up, we got Light Years featuring Rick Ross, his boss. Let's see what they got.
Justice League.
Justice League, woo. Rick Ross in Justice League is undefeated.
30 niggas with 30s on them, you act numb until them drums touch you, you acting different now who you feeling.
See, that's that run-on sentence flow I was talking about. This whole track feels like a layup for Rick Ross. The beat is laid for like a Rick Ross track.
Went from film, now you bagging up the traded jewels.
And this is no knock to Wale, but this was definitely like Rick Ross vibe, 100%. And he obviously had the highlight of the track too. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like the chorus could be better, but it may grow on me. You know, some stuff just get catchier over time. Alright, that was Light Years featuring Rick Ross. Next track is Angles featuring Chris Brown. Now this was a single, but I'm not sure if I heard the single. Let's check it out.
See the way you show now, girl, I can't tame you. I can't blame you. Yeah.
So I feel like this track overall I feel like it was an attempt to recreate the magic that Wale has a lot when it comes to R&B singers. You know, most of his hits have been magical hits when it comes to artists that he's collabed with. You know, you got the Miguel songs, the multiple hits and collaborations with Jeremiah. It's something about Wale collaborating with a R&B singer. When they hit that bag, it always is a hit. And I feel like this was an attempt to do that. Now, I don't feel like it has the same chemistry of what we get from some of his hits. You know, like the Matrimony, all of the hits that way with Jeremiah. It don't have that same X factor. Solid track. But I don't know, I don't feel like the Chris Brown feature was as solid as it needed to be to make a hit, you know. But solid track, and it's not that everything doesn't have to be a hit. But I know that that's what they wanted because it was a single. But let's see what we got the next track. You know, he has a couple of R&B features still on this album, so he may get that hit on another track. So let's see. The next track is Dearly Beloved featuring Jamie Foxx, who I haven't heard musically in a while. So let's see what that's about. I'm already in love with this one. Make this the single. This shit hard, bro.
Look, I'm about to spark. No, she don't love me no more. Ain't even
That beat drop gotta be so special.
She had to move on.
This is so
I
hard.
want you, but don't know what to do with ya. But you beloved and truly deserve better. Let me ask something. Do you want him or forever with him? What's the difference? Don't forget it.
This is a top tier track to me. I'm gonna explain why. Beautiful track. My only knock is the track is only 2 minutes long, like under 2 minutes actually, but the sample, the Jamie Foxx song, man, that was beautiful in the way it was layered onto the whole track. And Wale obviously really is hurt by someone. I feel like he's talked about love and he's talked about women before, but this felt way more substantial. And he kind of mentions it briefly in the beginning of the album, but that was great. That was one of my favorite tracks immediately. Like, I know when I'm gonna like a track. I feel like it could have, if like the beat dropped and there was like some bass in there, that would have just blew my mind even more. But there was nothing wrong with the way the track was layered. Wale actually has a production credit on that, so I thought that was cool. But the other producer on there also did a great job with putting that track together. I just wish it was longer. Now, I'm gonna just put this out in the universe and hopefully it comes back. Make it longer, put out an extended version, and put Drake on that bitch. That should be beautiful. Because I feel like he would appreciate that track too. Who don't appreciate Jamie Foxx? So make that happen, man. That was beautiful. Good track. But it's too short right now in this current phone to be any type of single. I know I said that at the beginning, but great track nonetheless. So, without further ado, let's keep it going. Next track we have More Love featuring Boys to Men and Sauce of Backyard Band.
Give another try.
Interesting start.
I love me, baby, you should love you more. I love me, baby, you should love you more. I love me, baby, you should love you more.
Somebody in a bag. Man, he is really utilizing these R&B features. That in the sample in the background, the way he's been carrying them into the background for each track.
I need someone. I trust nothing.
That's so beautiful. Like, compare this chorus with Light Years, like, huge difference in terms of how catchy the track is.
Look, never want to Grammy. I'm misunderstood. I be doing interviews, don't be in the mood. Baby, you should love you more.
I love that chorus. The beat.
I love me, baby, you should love you more.
Perfect. It's a perfect track to me. One of my favorites so far. This second half of the album is going strong. This the one, man. Love me on your side. That was just solid, good track, man. Good music. Kudos to Wale on that one. Everybody did they thing on that. You know, I will say I felt like at some point, at first I thought Boys to Men would have been, you know, utilized a bit more, but nah, everybody did what they had to do. That was good. Next track we got coming up is Jump In featuring Lil Chris of T.O.B. Ladies to the front. So I guess he got this album separated by sections because this section is definitely dedicated to the ladies. Started with Angles. Not liking the start so far. Please pick up. I'm not gonna lie, I hate this so far. He got another 30 seconds and I'm skipping it.
On my mind, that you still be on my line. Girl, I get it. Yeah, you single, how you busy all the time. Somebody.
It's a no for me. I'm sorry. It's a no for me. I'm sorry. I tried to give it a moment to save itself, but who co-signed that one? That one should have stayed in the drafts. Next track is Down South featuring Yella Beezy and Maxo Cream. Okay. Sound like it should be a banger. I think this one was also a single though. Hey, still tipping sample. Hey, slow it down.
Down south slanging, pulling with these hustlers, trying to get rid of all you haters.
Okay, he trying to get him a still tipping.
I ain't finna tap dance, I don't give a fuck though.
He tried to bring that energy off the first verse. Ain't got nothing on Slim Thug, but it was still nice though. Let's see what Yellow Beezy and Max Cream bring to it, because if you going for still tipping, every single one of them ate.
I got the cocaine, hopped out the Porsche when it sold me a peep. Smoke a pussy nigga like I roll me a leaf. Like a leaf, nigga. Smoke, put a hole in his teeth.
That wasn't hard.
On the tussle, we gon' see how niggas play it then.
Down south slanging.
It was straight. It was straight. He got a very unique rap voice. It was a solid verse. It was straight. And Max Cream can really rap. I really hope Max Cream really anchor this shit real hard.
He clip like Rudy Huxtable. On the real, you might get killed. Don't touch my tank, cause it's untouchable. Big Black Knight know my hip, yeah. I'ma shoot that bitch at Q, but she still fuckable.
Yeah, Max Cream had the best verse. He had the best flow too, and he had the most like notable moments. I feel like Wale had probably the most lyrical, maybe not better than Still Tipping. The original is still too much of a classic, but I appreciate the sample though. You know, they tried to make it their own, speed of the tempo. It was straight. It was straight. Next track is Extra Special featuring Ant Clemens. We approaching the last 3 songs of the album.
Can tell them we not together to see who jealous.
Track straight. I feel like it fits into that R&B rap vibe I mentioned earlier from Wale. I don't feel like the chorus is really, I guess nothing special, no pun intended. So I don't know if it'll elevate itself in the way that Wale's past R&B collabs have. But you know, only time will tell. And Clemens is on the come up. He's made some waves, you know, so we'll see. Let's move on to the next track, Fire and Ice. I like this track title, I'm not gonna lie.
I ain't wrote nothing poetic in a long time. Ice, ice, cold.
Hey.
Rain on me.
I can see the strolls now.
Ice, ice, cold.
Hey. Hey, he in his bag. Ice, ice, cold. Rain on me, your fire, babe. I like this one. It's like that midnight storm. That came on real late, for real. Like how late it is recording this episode.
I want you to love me and never hate on me. I want your trust when you look away from me. I want your guts and do not delay with me. I want you fuck me like Julie K movies.
Hey, we got some bops on here that I'm definitely gonna be coming back to. This is one of them. All right, moving on to the final track, Beverly Boulevard. Let's see how he closes the album.
I do the shit that they never done. I see the shit they could never see. Honestly, I'm really one of one. Honestly, I got no company.
Solid outro so far. It's on the soulful rap beat, not necessarily unique.
Promise we good forever. Got DMV on my back like my learner's permit is expired and done up. Don't even know what they
I really enjoyed some of his flows on this album.
It's crazy good beat.
Alrighty, so as the album comes to a close, just want to kind of summarize my thoughts on the project as a whole and where I feel like it fits in what we've heard this year as a whole. So first off, on the outro, I don't feel like the outro was all of that. I feel like it wasn't super memorable, but it's not unusual for people to give the opposite of what the intro gave, which the intro was immediately, got me in, immediately drew me into, oh, okay, this is what we doing now. I don't feel like the outro did that. I feel like it was forgettable, for lack of a better term. The project as a whole, I thought it was solid. My favorite tracks, New Balances, Polka Dot with J. Cole, Tiffany Nikes, Fluctuate, Dearly Beloved with Jamie Foxx, one of my favorites, probably my favorite track. and More Love with Boyz II Men and Salsa Backyard Band. Those two are my favorite tracks. But Fire and Ice is definitely gonna be up there. I gotta send that to the Neos. That was good. I bet I'm gonna see that in some step shows. But overall, album was solid. Is it better than Folarin 1? It depends on what you're looking for. Folarin 1, I feel like had more bars because you had mixtape Wale. You had literally tracks he called freestyles. You know, I feel like he had some bars on this too. I feel like he had some really nice, entertaining flows. But it was very much him in album mode. Although he did feel like he experimented with certain tracks. I did feel like tracks like Name Ring Bell and Jump In were very mixtapey or experimental. I did not like Jump In. To me, that was the worst track on the album. I appreciate what Down South tried to do. That did also remind me of a mixtape track. There were a variety of features on here. I feel like the J. Cole and the Jamie Foxx feature were probably the most utilized. Rick Ross did a great job too. And then I also wanted to reiterate that I felt like he did a great job mentioning other aspects of his career. Like, I think a lot of artists, they kind of go with the flow of where they are in their life. And they never take a step back to really look at, oh, look how far I come by referencing those key moments in their career. That's something I wish Lil Wayne would do a bit more often. But hearing Wale do that, you know, talking about the Nike, talking about ambition, and just, you know, acknowledging, hey, I've been with M&G for 10 years. I've been doing this for a while, giving y'all hits, you know. So I appreciated that from Wale. You know, I won't say it's one of his best albums, but, you know, it may grow on me to where it gets to that point. But first listen, I think the albums and the projects that I like from him the most, I don't think this is necessarily touching that. But that shouldn't shy you away from thinking it's a great project. So we'll see what happens. But I'm really curious to know what you guys thought. What are your favorite tracks? Was this album really good to you? Did the album need work? You know, what did you think? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to follow us on all socials. Without further ado, Teezy checking out.